Hello, and welcome back to Cape Corner, where we explore the history, story, and... Oh, wait, should I do it like the fucking radio announcer like you did to match the... Okay. Hello, and welcome back to Cape Corner, where we explore the history, story, and cultural impact of a different character or group every episode. I'm Blue, and I will be your host as we take this journey together.
It's spectacular. So now you have to check out the most recent episode of the Fandom Optimists, focusing on the first two episodes of Hawkeye, in order to understand the reference.
I can do this all day. All right.
I can do this all day.
I'm glad you caught that. All right. Yes. We just got done recording a Phantom Optimist episode. This is actually different from our normal recording time. Normally I record these episodes on Saturdays and they go up on Sundays, but we're doing it on Friday because my workplace gave us Thanksgiving off as a paid holiday and then was like, you also get Friday off. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And they're like, yeah, pretty much everyone just wanted Black Friday off. So we just rationalized it by saying this is everyone's birthday. So I was like, oh, all right, whatever works. So, oh yeah, I guess I should say it's Black Friday. Everyone, I hope, because this goes up on Sunday, I hope you survived, that you didn't get trampled. Capitalism is a fucking nightmare, and I wish to wake up from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope you weren't trampled this morning in a Black Friday stampede. I also hope that you survived the hours of arguing politics with your extended family yesterday.
Disgusting.
I wonder if that's even really... we're off on a bad start here, but I wonder if that's even like a thing anymore. I feel like politics have gotten...
Oh, it is.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was starting to feel like politics, and I'm really amazed that the word politics is still in play, because none of it's politics. But that quote unquote politics have gotten so out there and so divisive that it feels like, I don't know, if I had like direct family that was on that side, that I'd be like, I'm thinking I'd just skip Thanksgiving with y'all this year.
Look, I have the option to not eat at the Thanksgiving table because I've always just never liked eating with people, and I introduce myself to Andy's folks as like, I don't really like eating with other people, so no offense to you guys or whatever. So they already knew I was a Thanksgiving guy. But let me put it this way: Andy's uncle was at the Thanksgiving table, and he still has a Trump 2020 flag flying. So, yeah, there's a very pointed reason why I don't like talking to the man. Also, he's an asshole. But again, you'd have to be, wouldn't you?
It follows. So I was about to say.
But you know what? The opening things up with politics is valid because
That's a good point.
Today we're talking about a couple characters that are actually very politically heated recently. We are talking about the Boy of Steel, Superboy, which sort of defeats the last son of Krypton moniker for Superman, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's true. I guess he's not a son of Krypton. He wasn't born there. And he's only half Kryptonian,
I guess. But yeah. So okay. I'm going to say something that I said actually during the Phantom Optimist recording that I feel like is a good way to open this up. To anyone who complains about LGBT being pushed for Jonathan Kent, Connor Kent has had two dads since the 80s. So you're not, again, it's the whole trying to push the idea that there is a woke agenda in modern comics, as though comics haven't always been progressive. You there is nothing new to quote unquote wokeness happening in comics. You just never bothered actually paying attention to the themes present. All you saw was guys throwing cars and shooting laser beams, and you thought it was really cool, and you kept that juvenile sensibility into your adulthood. So now when it's being more on the nose, you're going, whoa, this has come out of nowhere. And
Yep.
you are not a serious adult, and you should stop partaking in our discussions.
I do always say, and I'm sure we've had this discussion on this show before, but I've like ever since I first listened to the first Superman episode that you did, I was like, oh yeah, this is a good discussion to have. That not only Superman, but the entirety of nerd culture has been very woke and progressive relative to everything around it at its time.
That's something I said in that
From
episode, right?
from the beginning. And there's all these anti-woke, anti-SJW, I don't know what an SGW would be, anti-SJW people who claim to like this stuff. It's like,
Social
well,
grocery warrior.
yeah, it's like you can claim to like this stuff, but this stuff definitely doesn't like you.
Yeah, the people who argue against representation in superhero media don't realize that they're not aligned with the Superman, they're aligned with the Lex Luthor.
Yep.
He tries to control the flow of what happens in superhero culture in his own world.
I still think my favorite description of Superman ever is he is an undocumented refugee journalist fleeing a climate disaster, and his father was a climate change alarmist. And and what else? That he's passed the non-profit family business down to his bisexual, biracial son.
Yep.
This is as woke as it gets, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's the idea, because like Superman wears a facade of all American, but anyone who spends even a second actually communicating with the man realizes that it is just that, it's symbolism he's wearing. And for someone to claim to be a fan of him is it speaks to the fact that you never actually loved this character. You loved what you thought he was, and then never took a deeper look at him. And Superman fans have historically, ever since I was a kid, been some of the most ignorant shits that I've ever seen. Literally, okay, I used to watch Toonami. You know about Toonami, right? I don't know.
It sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know.
It was a programming block that ran on Cartoon Network that it brought a lot of anime to the West, actually. Dragon Ball Z ran in America on Toonami. Sailor Moon, G Gundam, Yu Yu Hakusho. All of this was on Toonami. And they would do little like bumper not ads, like little segments between the actual commercials and the actual show. Toonami would have little bumper segments, and sometimes it would be Tom, the host, reviewing Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, which was out at the time, or whatever. But there was one where it was talking about a guy who collected all of this Superman memorabilia. He had a big Superman standee, and while the guy was proclaiming his love for Superman, one of the lines he said was, "What other superhero do you know that bullets bounce off of?" And as a I was like, "Plenty, the Hulk, Luke Cage, Batman in the Red." What do you mean? It's like, whoa, what an ignorant statement! Like to be like, oh, this is something only Superman can do. Well, that's not true. what makes Superman special isn't his abilities. And like the Superboys are a prime example. Superman, yeah, like they inherited their abilities from him, but the reason that they are his successors is because they inherited his ideologies. There are plenty of other characters, not just in DC but in media, that can fly, are super strong, nearly invulnerable, and have laser eyes. But when they don't have the correct ideologies, they are so far away from Superman that it's unnerving. If you like, if you look at the kid from Brightburn and you go, yeah, that's Superman in any way other than origin and power set, you need help. Because the entire thing of, hey, the point of that movie is, what if Superman had no morals and became a horror movie character? And that's the thing. Homelander, Omni-Man, they are all what if Superman, but blank. What if we deviated from what Superman is? What if
and in Homelander's case, it's what if Superman, but hyper-capitalist American boy. And for Omni-Man, it's what if Superman, but hyper-imperialist American boy.
Yeah, like the people don't seem to understand that when you apply those qualifiers to these Superman adjacent characters, you are changing core fundamental aspects. The reason that they are not Superman is because they do not share his behaviors, his ideals, his treatment of others. They are not Superman, even though they share all of his powers. It's not about the powers. And again, there are superheroes with greater physical strength than Superman. There are superheroes with greater destructive energy projection than Superman. There are superheroes with faster flight. There are superheroes who are more hard to kill. Like and again, for all of the Superman weeaboos who are like, he could be Goku because nobody can be Superman. There's a lot of fucking people that can beat Superman. Shut up. He doesn't need to be the best at everything. The reason he's considered like one of the strongest heroes is because he's good at a lot of things as an all-rounder, right? He doesn't specialize in one thing. He's really fucking fast, and he's really fucking strong, and he's really fucking tough, and he's got really fucking good energy projection. He is not the best in any one field. He's just really high up in multiple fields. And to put all of your care in the character in this camp of, I love him because he's the best, what happens when he's not the best? Again, the response to the ignorant fan is to deny. When people go, okay, but if you like Superman because he's the strongest, what if you put him next to Goku, who's clearly stronger? They say, no, he's not. But he is. Nuh-uh! Did you read this issue where he lifted a page of a book of infinite pages? Okay, it wasn't literally infinite pages. Also, other people were helping him lift it.
Well, and that comes down to the when you get into the Batman versus Superman debates, where people say, well, Superman's better because he could kill Batman before he even sees him coming. It's like, no, he couldn't, because he's Superman. It's like him being Superman, he can't kill Batman before he sees him coming because that's dishonorable and wrong.
Yeah,
he wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and that's a big thing too. Like, because a lot of the modern Superman discourse comes thanks to Death Battle, those fuckers, and the entire premise behind Death Battle is we need to cut away core fundamental aspects of these characters' behaviors in order to break down on a pure logistical level who would win in a fight to the death. And so we're like leaving personality out of it, but then they pick and choose, they cherry pick that shit, because they would then write a scenario where, again, Goku is there with a kryptonite rock and Superman's dying, and then Goku breaks the kryptonite to have a fair fight. And it's like, didn't you say that they're out to kill each other, you cheating fucks? Anyway, the point is that they inspired a lot of this incredibly ignorant, negatively minded, quote unquote, Superman fan who, when they see actual Superman media that actually stays true to the core of the character, they get upset. There is literally a story in the Superman mythos that was written specifically as a rebuttal to this type of fan. Do you know the story I'm talking about?
No.
What is wrong with justice in the American way?
Is that... Oh, wait. Is there a book that addresses why he stopped saying that?
No. There's a book that addresses why you should stop wanting Superman to fight for that.
Okay.
Let's say today...
Is it Superman smashes the Klan?
No. The book is called What's Wrong with Truth, Justice, in the American Way.
Oh, okay. I thought you were asking a rhetorical question to help me figure out what
no, that's the name
was.
of it. The story basically revolves around Superman being seen as obsolete. There's a new age hero named Manchester Black. And he's a British punk who has vast psionic powers, telepathy, telekinesis, yada, yada, yada. And he is brutal and ruthless. The story was made as a rebuttal to the Bronze Age. And he is a Bronze Age character who will slaughter villains without a second thought, because everything's just better when the villains are dead. And Superman confronts him, and he's like, you are not acting heroic. You're inspiring terror, not hope. And Manchester Black is like, dude, you're old. Nobody is here for your bland aspirations of hope anymore. We don't want empty monologues about optimism. We want results. People want spectacle. I get it done. You just throw villains in jail for them to pop out again. It's the extreme 90s and early 2000s mindset that led to shit like that fucking 2003 Daredevil movie. And how are you going to take the character who is like more against killing than like Batman and then have him kill in his first feature-length movie? Anyway, and so the entire point was that Manchester Black and his team were fucking with Superman until eventually Superman snapped and he became ruthless and he slaughtered them. And like Manchester Black was making a psychic barrier so Superman couldn't really get to him. And then there's a ultra zoom in from like Superman's eye, and then like it zooms into like Manchester Black's eye, goes through his eye, and you see his brain, and then like something breaks. And the psychic barrier and everything, like this maelstrom of wind and psychic energy he was making, it just stops and he falls to the ground. It's like, what just happened? What did you do? And he's like, I focused my heat vision to an ultra fine point through your retina and used it as a scalpel to cut out the part of your brain that gave you psionic powers.
I think I've seen that clip. They adapted this.
They did animated it. Yeah.
Superman versus the Elite?
Yeah. That was Manchester Black. And
okay.
And basically the entire thing, the entire point is this what you wanted? You wanted a Superman that doesn't hold back. You wanted a Superman that doesn't care. It's horrible. This is not something you should want. This is something Superman strives to not be. And the idea that the modern superhero can't be genuine, can't be compassionate, can't be hopeful. What is wrong with truth, justice, and the American way? Yeah, it's corny. Yeah, it's old school. Is there not value in that ideal? Is that not what we should try to be? Like, it's not new, but that doesn't make it wrong. Something isn't automatically good because it's the newest thing. And yeah, something isn't automatically good because it's the oldest thing either. You've got to take the best parts of all eras to have the most ideal future. And what Superman represented before is something we should strive to be. Caring for the sake of caring for others, constantly uplifting each other, giving your enemies a chance to, better themselves rather than just taking them out and assuming that nobody can ever change for the better. Like, these are ideals that Superman strives to, and he instilled them into his children. So when I see people get upset that Jonathan Kent is now carrying a signboard and he's protesting climate change, and like one of the things I saw was, he could just destroy factories all around the world, and it's like, yeah, and if it ever comes to it where it's that or die, I'm sure he will. But you shouldn't want him to exercise ultimate power and authority. Because again, what is wrong with truth, justice, and a better tomorrow?
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
And
I also really like that Jonathan's slogan has changed a little bit.
Yeah, it's good because like America has some problems.
The American way has caused a lot of problems lately.
Yeah, when it's a realization that we shouldn't cherry pick what the American way is, because the American way, we can talk about all the good points about it, but to ignore the fact that the American way has been like slavery, wage theft, killing people in the streets. That is, whether we like it or not, been the American way. And when we pretend that that's not the case, that's when we get people who grow up thinking that racism never existed, who can we stop teaching that Thanksgiving was a day
dear God.
when pilgrims...
Did you see some more news?
No, I haven't watched it yet. This is something I've been complaining about for years, actually. I know
it's a real good episode.
I need to watch it still. I just look, sometimes that show depresses me, and I need to
Fair enough
before I watch it.
Fair enough.
But like can we stop teaching our children that that the pilgrims and the Indians, quote unquote, all sat at a table together and had a nice feast? Because like, you don't need to tell your 7-year-old about smallpox blankets, but you shouldn't be telling them that everyone got along until one day they just didn't.
Yeah.
Like,
basically when you're growing up, you learn that the kind Indians, which is now incorrect, but for the purposes of how you learned it when you were little, the kind Indians helped the pilgrims to learn how to grow corn, and we all sat around the table and we ate Thanksgiving, and then something happened to them later, and I'm not sure what it was, but I don't know.
And
now here we are.
Cowboy movies happened, and all the Indians were bad, and it was really good to shoot them. Cool
then in the Old West, the Indians turned evil, and now here we are.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, I think we need to start trusting children more, to be able to understand things, because they can. Children can be fucking stupid, but you know who else can? Adults. And yet we're out here giving blanket assumptions and basic things. You can do the same for a kid. Again, measure it, like, ease them into it. I literally I was catching up on you before we started recording, and I just saw the newest episode, and spoiler alert for Young Justice fans. If you're not caught up, go watch it. Maybe skip ahead a minute. But Connor has supposedly died. I'm not entirely convinced yet. He's in the opening. But the the thing with Jonathan is that they're all at the Smallville farm. Jonathan, uh, and they're like, he passed away.
Your audio's getting weird and scrambly.
It is.
Yeah, it's like muffling out.
Okay, hang on.
May want to like unplug and replug whatever headphones you're using or something.
I'm not using headphones.
Oh, okay.
Should I leave the recording and restart it? Do you think that'll help?
I don't know. It sounds like it's kind of stabilizing now.
Oh, okay. It might have been the way I was holding the phone.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, because I heard Connor has supposedly died, and I don't really believe that because he's in the opening and.
Oh.
And then it was just gone.
Oh, what I was saying is that Jonathan, he's like, is Uncle Connor going to show up? Because they're all at the Smallville farm. And they're like, we told you he passed away. And he clearly doesn't understand what that means. And so Clark starts explaining the concept of death to him.
Oh.
Like, he tells him, he's like, he's dead. That means that his journey, the part of his journey where he's in this life is over and we can't see him anymore. Living beings have a lot of little parts inside us, right? And they're all working to keep us alive. But if one or a few of those parts stop working, then the body can't keep going. And that's when someone dies. And then Ma and Pa Kent chime in, and they're like, we believe that when we reach the end of our journey, we'll be able to see him again. But until then, he's gone, and we can't talk to him. And Jonathan's like, huh. And like, he's clearly taking it in, and he's little. He looks like he's 3 or 4. But, later on, we see Lois come out, and she's like, Jonathan seems okay. And Clark looks up and he's crying and he's like, good, because I'm not. And I think that's something people in that, sorry. I think that's something people take for granted, is that a kid has the benefit of ignorance. As they are learning new concepts, because it takes time to fully understand the true gravitas of it, it's not going to destroy them like we think it will. A kid is learning about the way the world works, and they trust their parents to tell them, what the parent has learned in their life. That he isn't yet able to be fully upset by that. Like, he might be bummed that he can't see Connor anymore, but the full ramifications of what all that really implies, it doesn't register. He's not learned about the way the world works enough yet, but he has now learned this aspect, and it will inform him going forward. And that's an incredibly important lesson for a Superboy to learn, that he can fucking make people not work anymore if he destroys little parts of them, so he has to be careful. And it, even when children in our real world don't have super strength, like, they need to learn these rules of life, and when you try to protect them from it, you're dooming them to face these horrible fates in the future. Superman trusted his boys with these hard truths because he believed in them, that they could take the right lessons away and that they could, tackle them even after he is gone. And I think whether it's as a father figure or an older brother figure, Superman's relationship with the Superboys is so good. Um, oh, sorry, I know that was heavy.
It's appropriate.
So do you want to discuss a little bit about the differences between Connor and John?
Yeah. Did you want me to like say what the differences are?
Yeah, go for it. I've been talking a lot.
Okay, so we've got Jonathan Kent, who is his biological son, with Lois. And Jonathan, let's see, where all have I seen Jonathan Kent? Other than as a very small child on Young Justice, he is also in the Superman and Lois TV series, but that's a little bit different because the Jonathan Kent in that series also has a brother, Jordan Kent, and in the Superman and Lois series, Jordan is the one with the powers, and Jonathan is just a really cool dude. So it doesn't look like he's on the way to becoming Superboy in that show. But then we've got Connor. I tend to prefer the story of Connor Kent, mostly just because I've had more exposure to it. And he is a clone of Superman, but, plot twist, he's also got DNA from Lex Luthor. So he's, as you said, got two dads. And yeah, so he's the main Superboy for Young Justice. He's also Superboy in the Titans TV series. He is usually the Superboy that's with the Teen Titans.
I know you said that Titans is worth a watch, but the more I hear of it, the worse it sounds.
Okay, well, see, when I told you that, we were probably partway into season 3. And Titans has this really impressive way of tricking me into thinking it's a great show in the first half of each season, and then immediately falling off and doing nothing with that potential the second half of each season. Because it's like the first half of season 1, I was like, wow, this is much better than the trailers led me to believe. And then by the end of it, I was like, it's okay. I thought we were going somewhere, but it's just kind of okay. And then season 2, I'm like, oh my god, Deathstroke, and we're flashing back to Aqualad, and we're doing all this cool stuff with, everything. And we've got Jason Todd being a more significant role. That's pretty interesting, right? And then in the last 3 or 4 episodes, it was like, that's kind of weird. I don't know what they did with their potential there. It's kind of bored now. And then season 3 starts up, and you're like, oh man, we're doing Under the Red Hood. We're going crazy with it. We've got Scarecrow in the show, and he's wacky, and he's really cool. And then in the back half, it's like, oh, it's just another standard Scarecrow plan, and kind of bored now. And I don't know how they managed to do that, but every season Titans has me leading up to something, and then they squander all their potential.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I guess I should amend what I said. That Superboy has had 2 dads since the 90s, not the 80s, but whatever.
Okay.
Because Connor Kent, first appeared after the death of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a plot line. I can't remember. Look, I did the Superman episode forever ago, so I can't remember. And we've also done a Supergirl episode I keep forgetting about. So it's hard for me to keep track of what I have or haven't already talked about. But post death of Superman, there was actually a storyline where there was 4 different people that were all claiming to be the next Superman. And it was Cyborg Superman, Hank Henshaw.
Yes.
It was Steel, going as the Man of Steel.
Yeah. Dr. Henry Irons? John Henry
Irons. Yeah. Very on the nose. Who was the third one?
The Eradicator, right?
What?
At least in the movie, it's the Eradicator. It's this like robot thing that's got a visor.
It was just the one that looked exactly like Superman, right?
Yeah, but it's got a yellow visor.
Oh no, I don't think it was that. Hang on.
Okay, that's what it was in the movie. I've not read that comic.
Doomsday. What the fuck? Hang on. I.
It was Doomsday. Doomsday showed up and became Superman.
Well, that's what this says here. I gotta.
What?
Okay, Steel, Cyborg, Superman, Superboy. Okay, it does say Eradicator.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because I should say the four each represent a different facet of Superman, or like the different monikers. Steel was representing the Man of Steel, like I said. Cyborg Superman represents the Man of Tomorrow, given that he's a cyborg.
Yeah.
Eradicator represented the last son of Krypton because he's a visored, energy-powered alien.
Mm-hmm.
And Superboy represented Superman, living in a metropolis and being a human and all that stuff. And I should say Connor's outfit. Are you aware of the original Superboy outfit?
No, hang on. Let me go look that up.
As we know Connor nowadays, he wears a black short sleeve T-shirt with the red S on it and jeans and like boots. But before that, when he was first introduced,
this is how it was in the animated movie. Yeah,
he wore red pants. But wait, did the other Supermen show up in the animated movie? I only remember which animated movie? Are we talking the first DCAU animated movie, The Death of Superman?
No, I'm talking the DC, the DCAMU, interconnected continuity Reign of the Supermen.
Oh, okay. Because I don't know if you know it, but actually the first DCAU movie, like before Sub-Zero or any of them, was Death of Superman.
I had no idea, and I've never even seen the title anywhere.
Because they don't do the four Supermen in that. They just do one quote-unquote new Superman, which looks exactly like the original.
Okay.
And the original comes back with the black suit and the mullet, so people think he's the imposter at first.
Yeah, so in the DCAMU, dear God, in like 2017, 2018, they did a two-parter. They did a movie, The Death of Superman, which is basically a whole movie of the Justice League getting its ass kicked by Doomsday, and then they fucking kill Superman. And then it ends, and then you gotta go to the next movie where where it's Reign of the Supermen, where these four new Supermen show up, and then eventually we get black suit Superman with the mullet at the end of that movie.
Yeah. But yeah, to finish what I was saying, his outfit, he's got the red pants, black boots with like yellow bands around the boots. He's got like a belt. He's got the blue torso with the classic S shield, yellow background, red S. He's got red gloves, but then he's got a black leather jacket, and like these glasses, they're like what, like Elton John or like Beatles. Like imagine the Harry Potter circular, like super circle frames, like perfect circle, but with shades in them. They look like something you'd expect a mid-50s musician with a British accent to wear. Like, hey love, cheerio, I'm here to rock your socks off. Fucking one of those. And his haircut is that he seemed to have like normal hair at the top, but it was like shaved on the sides. He did the shaved on the sides long before the fucking late 2010s. But it's definitely a look. And they actually poked fun at it in Young Justice. Do you remember this?
No.
In season 1, they attend a Halloween party, and everyone's dressed up as different superheroes, of course, except for the actual superheroes. And Mal Duncan is there, and he's a big Superman fan, and he's wearing that outfit. And so Superboy is like, "Who are you supposed to be?" And he's like, "Superman, done right." And he's like, "Yeah, okay."
That's great.
And John's outfit is more or less just altered basic Superman outfit, which isn't to say it's bad. It's just it stays a lot more true to the classic. Some versions he has the cape, some he doesn't. Some his outfit looks more like I'm looking at this picture right here. It's way too busy. Like I think the modern version where again it's almost perfectly this typical Superman outfit, but now like the emblem goes up to his neckline and shoulders. Like it transitions into that with the red and it flows into the red of the cape. Like I think that's a really good look. It's distinct enough from Clark's Superman, but still carries that classic aesthetic. And but for me, again, John feels more like a sequel than a spin-off. Let's put it that way. He feels more like he's just a continuation of Clark, which isn't to say he doesn't have his own defined personality, but everything about his presentation lends itself to the idea that he is the next Superman, the next Clark Kent, the next Kal-El, where Connor is very much his own person with his own style, who very clearly was taught, trained, and inspired by Superman, but he took those lessons to shape himself better. And he is not exactly the same as Cal, and Cal doesn't expect him to be exactly the same. And I just appreciate that more. I think both are different takes that both have value. But between the two, I like Connor more. And again, like you said, that may even just be a case of I've had more exposure to him than with Jonathan. But that's just where I stand now.
Yeah, because I find that I always tend more toward things that I've seen in more media because I am more of a TV movie person than a comics person. So it's probably just that.
Yeah, and it's
because when I've read, the only times I've seen Jonathan Kent explored a lot was he wasn't in Young Justice, was he? He was in because Superboy. He wasn't in Young Justice.
He was in Young Justice.
Jonathan
John.
Kent?
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot the premise for a second.
I think John first appeared in season 2. Yeah. Season 2 was the one with the Reach and the fucking
okay. Yeah, I mean he's a very small child. I was trying to think of what comic book have I read that has had Jonathan Kent in it, and the only one is in Elseworlds, and it's Deceased, and he's in Deceased a lot, and I liked him a lot in that. I think it was pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's my biggest experience with Jonathan Kent Superboy.
Actually, something's just occurred to me that I've not been clear on for many, many years, and I should have thought about it before now.
Mm-hmm.
Which Superboy is Superboy Prime? Wait, no,
Mm.
never. I do know. He's Clark. Okay, because the
Oh
so
yeah,
do
I
you know
remember that.
he was from what was supposed to be the real world, quote
Yeah,
unquote. He was from a world where Superman was a fictional character,
right.
and
And he
yet
happens to be
happened.
named Clark Kent.
He happens to have the same origin of an alien landing to Earth and has all the same powers. And the farmers that pick him up jokingly are like Clark Kent, am I right? So they just actually name him Clark. So he just grows up as fucking Superman in the real world, and it seems like it would be bizarre being like, I'm sorry, wait a minute. So you're saying your name is Clark Kent? You're superhumanly strong. What the fuck? You're just Superman. And he's just like, I know. Leave me alone.
Yeah, and then the only way I know about him was he was in the death metal event in the comics,
Oh,
which
he was?
I've read that.
I thought he died in in Infinite Crisis.
Yeah, so there's a part in God, I loved death metal, but I hate death metal because it's so complicated that the Batman Who Laughs has become God basically on level with Perpetua, and he's trying to kill Perpetua, and they realize that they need to harness crisis energy, and so
Is Perpetua the one that did the fuckery with the post Flashpoint and uh New
think
52 stuff?
I think it is. I can't remember if that turned out to be Dr. Manhattan or not.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
you did say that. That's
I
right.
think
Okay.
that was just Dr. Manhattan, but maybe it was also kind of Perpetua. But
This shit's too complicated.
Perpetua was like trapped in the source wall. And at the end of Dark Knight's Metal, they destroy the source wall. Or maybe it was at the end of Doomsday Clock. It was either Doomsday Clock or Dark Knight's Metal. They destroy the source wall. And Perpetua is free. And the Batman Who Laughs wants to kill Perpetua. I'm leaving out months and months of storytelling here.
Well,
But
yeah. And it's not even months, it's decades, because this shit demands that you at least have a decent grasp on fucking crisis events from fucking 50 years ago.
Right, which is exactly where I was going with that, because they decide that they need to harness like crisis energy or something to defeat. I remember at some point Wonder Woman says we have to reach whatever pocket dimensions the crises still exist in to channel crisis energy into the forge of worlds or something, so we can create something that can kill Perpetua. And then
God damn it, this is all just going to lead to another fucking reboot.
Batman says, either you have a plan or you've just had a stroke, which I thought was really funny. That even Batman is like, I'm fucking done, man. But they go into these like pockets, so they find the Infinite Crisis. Is that the one with Superboy Prime?
Yes, that was the one from the early 2000s.
Yeah, so they find him, they find someone from Crisis on Infinite Earths, and they find someone from Final Crisis. That's like those pockets still exist with those events having just happened.
Dude, like, I'm sorry that I screamed a second ago. It just suddenly occurred to me that all of this shit that they're doing with we're actually gonna like take all of the previous crises as like a constant flowing narrative, and we're going to try to explain all the reboots. But it's like it's all a fucking fool's errand, because at the end, if they're like, we did it, we harnessed the energy and we stopped whatever multiversal catastrophe or whatever the fuck is happening, and we restored reality. It's just gonna lead to another fucking reboot. I'm tired of this. DC,
Yep.
fucking stay the course for a while. God damn it.
Well, and they went nuts with it, because they basically say that the multiverse is about to end, but then this, like, I think he's called the Chronicler, shows up, and he works for someone above him who oversees the Omniverse. So
God,
we've now reached beyond the realm of the multiverse, and we've discovered that there's an omniverse that's much bigger, and it's full of lots of multiverses.
they
And
stole that name from Ben 10. I'm just putting that out there.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but the multiverse is like they've got a. I think Brainiac 5 tries to convince the Chronicler to save the multiverse. I don't remember now. I'm getting all my details mixed up, but they do it. That's what matters. And there is a really cool moment where Wonder Woman from this event meets like original Wonder Woman with the same art style, with the like weird, more pale appearance to the artwork from like the 60s or whatever, or 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Thought that was actually pretty cool.
Dude, I know I use exaggeration and hyperbole a lot on this, but literally the moment when you said omniverse, like I actually got a headache. Like I felt it.
I
It just hit my head.
I was
like,
struggling reading the Dark Knight's Death Metal book. That's why as soon as I finished reading that, I was like, well, I could just kind of keep reading Justice League comics, but I kind of don't want to because I'm kind of fed up with continuity right now. I'm gonna go read Deceased.
The entire point of having a multiverse is that you can do stories forever. So when you're constantly trying to reset your multiverse, it's like, then what was the point of having one? What was the point? If you don't want to tell stories on this earth anymore,
just abandon it.
Switch to another earth. Just say, hey, things are almost the same. This is okay. We're going now.
But then big multiverse crossovers are fun, and then you wind up fucking over everyone's continuity by destroying the multiverse.
Yeah, can we stop destroying the multiverse? Have your crossovers where multiple versions of the same character interact, but stop having them get together specifically to stop the destruction of the multiverse.
And they kind of did it again with the CW Crisis, because have you read the tie-in comic book?
No, I don't care.
It's pretty fun because the Marv Wolfman helped write it, which is pretty cool. He wrote the original Crisis on Infinite Earths. So this tie-in comic book for the CW event reveals that it also wiped out like the New 52 Prime Earth during that CW crisis. So it's not just TV and movies. That crisis affected comic book multiverse stuff. So did they destroy everything again and then bring it back? Is the CW's Oliver Queen responsible for the current comic books?
Look,
it's like, how connected is this?
Here's my hot take. And I'm probably going to have to wind up calling this episode Superboy /Crisis.
Yeah, and then we'll do like a proper Superboy episode later.
No, I mean, we're done. There's not a whole lot to say about the Superboys.
Oh, okay, cool.
We've said most of what you can say. The only other thing is like talking in detail about Connor's progression in the Young Justice series. But okay, look, the problem with the Crisis is that Crisis on Infinite Earths was a story that was a big event and it was very exciting, but it's a story that only works once. And yet, because it was so massive, DC wanted to make more of that Crisis money. And so they kept doing more crises. And every new Crisis makes the entire premise worse every time. And I didn't grow up with enough money to have comics, but because I've always loved superheroes, I've always tried to stay in the know of what's happening. So around the mid 2000s is when I really started getting more into the weeds about what the deal is with comics. So I had to learn about pre and post Crisis Earths. And I was like, okay, so I need to keep those two different Supermen in mind. And then I learned that Infinite Crisis had just happened. was like, oh, okay, so actually this Superman is the third. He's like an amalgamation or something. Okay. And then when Flashpoint happened,
Right.
and we went to New 52, I was like, oh, okay. This
New
is bad.
Superman.
This version is bad. I hope it gets better. And that is, again, my fatal flaw. I should not trust DC to make things that progress and get better, because when something is bad, they'll just go redo it.
Right,
And
so then they just kill New 52 Superman.
5 years of New 52, they did Rebirth. And in 2017, I remember walking through Barnes and Noble, and I saw Rebirth on a shelf, and I offhandedly mentioned to my friend, I was like, what's that? And they're like, oh yeah, they like rebooted DC. I was like, what do you mean they rebooted DC? They just rebooted DC 5 years ago. And
yeah, Rebirth was at least a soft reboot for a little while.
At that point, I gave up. And it was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah. Because now they do some giant universe or multiverse changing event every 2 years.
Yep.
Because then they did, in 2018 to 2019-ish, they did Doomsday Clock to kind of explain and accelerate all the Rebirth stuff. And then they did the Dark Knight's Metal in like... They did Dark Knight's Metal in like also 2019, maybe before, maybe a little bit after, and then they did Dark Knight's Death Metal. It's just
look.
Nuts.
This is my big problem with modern DC Comics, is that no matter what any individual writer may be trying to accomplish, it is a fool's errand to try and get good characterization out of a character when your producers are trying to rush through this bullshit individual character shit. We got to get to the next big thing. We got to get to the next crisis. We got to get to the next big crisis so that we can reboot it. And so then none of this shit will have mattered. So then why even bother lingering on the characters too much? Don't worry about it. So then what we wind up having is a lack of good characterization.
Well, and that's kind of why I've pretty much only been reading the big events on the, like, I have the DC Infinite app, and I've really not been reading just week to week, month to month issues. I read the giant events, and then
and that's the big problem.
Else.
That's the problem. When nothing but the big events matters, so like there's no characterization, there is no strong foundation of a character, then after a while you go, why should I give a shit about the fate of this character in this big multiversal event where anyone could die? I don't care. This isn't even the same character that I loved. This is like the fourth reincarnation of the character. He is so far removed from, like, when you told me that New 52 Superman died, I'm like, okay, that's not the Superman I liked anyway. He's not the same guy.
The Superman who's in Rebirth, I'm pretty sure, is meant to be the pre-Flashpoint Superman who's been like lost in a pocket dimension this whole time or something. I think that they killed the New 52 one and they just brought back the old one.
It's like it makes none of it matter. It makes it impossible for me to get invested in any of it. And if I'm not
do the Marvel DC crossover that you're clearly trying to build to and destroy the Omniverse, just do it.
Yeah. Let Image Comics have supremacy now.
Have you seen all the stuff that's like it feels like they're starting to go toward maybe doing another Marvel DC? I will read the hell out of that if they do it, just because I'm me.
Sure.
But
look,
did you read Doomsday Clock?
No. I told you I gave up. I don't look, hearing about it all is interesting, but I don't care anymore. When I say this, I'm not being facetious. I'm not being I'm not being the snark, like, oh, Blue, what a card. He's the guy that he brings the negativity, and it's like, I'm not trying to do that. It's just
Yeah,
They have
people are
hurt me.
gonna be convinced that we're doing a bit, that we've
I'm
got
really not.
the
Guys,
straight man and the obnoxiously optimistic one.
I'm
Um,
I'm trying so hard because I love superheroes so much, and DC was a big foundation of my love for superheroes. But the way it's been handled in modern years, it's exhausted me. I should not feel trepidation and exhaustion when hearing about a new superhero story. I should feel excitement. I should be filled with curiosity and wonder, and I'm not. And it's not a matter of me getting older. I trust me, I've been very careful to not let myself become jaded in older age. It's because this is being particularly badly handled in the moment. I will recognize news stories that are done well, um, and I will recognize old stories that are done bad. There's plenty of them, but so it's not the matter of a crotchety old man that's being like, these kids don't know good comics. Why, when I was a child paying a nickel for my Superman, and I'm not that old anyway. But the point is, the this this is not a matter of new. It's just bad. And when you take into account all of the reasons that I've given in the past 20 minutes of why I feel that it's devalued the characterization and the plotting of these stories, so it's left such a deep scar in DC
yeah.
Comics that I feel like, why should I care? You've not given me a reason to care in so long.
So I got to tell you a few things that you won't care about, but that I love saying.
Okay.
So during the Doomsday Clock, oh my God, Dr. Manhattan. So you know Dr. Manhattan's deal. You know Watchmen stuff.
Yeah.
So I forgot about this. This is pretty funny now that Facebook has renamed themselves, because Dr. Manhattan realizes during the Doomsday Clock that it is not a multiverse, but a metaverse that deliberately restructures itself around Superman every decade or so. And I was like, that's pretty clever. You've acknowledged why the reboots happen is for some reason it keeps restructuring itself around Superman. I don't know why. I just think it's funny.
It's making me mad. It's
I know.
because what you're telling me is that literally, on an extremely literal level, DC's modern game plan for the past 10 years or so is all based on Deadpool kills the Marvel universe.
Yep. So I gotta tell you this little bit from Dr. Manhattan is pretty fun. So Dr. Manhattan, being detached from time and kind of seeing all of time at once, he starts abruptly citing these weirdly specific dates. And this is where I was like, are they trying to tell me that these are going to be real comic books that they're like holding themselves to, or what? Because he says it is July 2nd, 2025. A crisis unlike any the metaverse has seen. One they will call Time Masters erupts, but in its wake, Superman is revitalized and his greatest allies return. And then he says, I thought this was a pretty cool thing, that he says no matter how many times Superman's existence is attacked, he will survive, even if change is a constant, because hope is the North Star of this universe.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of empty words and platitudes.
It is. But then he goes on and he starts saying these like wild things that he says in January 2026, the timeline is restored. And this is a weird conspiracy theorist tie-in. Earth 5G is born. Okay. From this book in November of like 2019. That's an odd thing. But then he says it is June 17th, 2026, and Superman goes on a quest to find Bruce Wayne's lost daughter so she can save Bruce's son. I was like, okay, weird. But then they put this one in. He says, it is July 10th, 2030, the secret crisis begins, throwing Superman into a brawl across the universe with Thor himself and a green behemoth stronger than Doomsday who dies protecting Superman from the invaders. I was like, what did you say, Dr. Manhattan?
Okay, hang on. First of all, trying to set up plot lines that will not matter for 5 to 10 years.
I know.
And is already a fool's errand.
Yeah.
But second, I highly doubt that Marvel agreed to this asinine 5 to 10 year plan.
I'm sure they didn't.
So if they are trying to imply that they're going to cross over with Marvel, then there are only two possible outcomes. Either one, they're going to have to hope and pray that Marvel agrees to a deal with them, and that they do it in time, or B, they're not coming to an understanding, as they famously don't, and the clock is ticking, and they're about to reach the end of their time limit, and they're gonna have to fucking kowtow to Marvel and be like, "We'll give them to you, please do something," and it will fucking ruin DC anyway. So,
yep,
that's a dumb fucking move.
Well, but see, Marvel kind of nodded back, like 4 months later, in a release. There was some Thor thing. Let me look it up real quick. I'm gonna. You can keep angry ranting if you want. I'm looking up a reference that I've forgotten if I still have it. Yeah, here it is. So at some point, the Thor comics had this deal where there was the Black Winter, I think it was called, and we're open random world, and it's a Thor comic, and we're seeing stuff get dissolved by the Black Winter, and it says, what will you do when the Black Winter comes? Will you scream prayers to your gods? Will you clasp your hands in hope that your noble defenders will arrive? And it says, you will. They all do. And just like the denizens of this particular universe, the gods do arrive. And we see, like, what looks like it might be the Daily Planet with, like, a red and blue streak flashing past. And it says, a sun god, a god of emerald light, a god of darkness, perhaps, a god of the ocean, of speed, of strength. This universe, like so many before it, is protected by a league of gods, many of them as powerful as those you have always known and marveled at. And it's like, what the fuck are y'all doing? What are y'all doing?
So,
don't tease me with this shit. Just do something.
I hate to add credence to this idea that I have to survive the next 10 years just to be able to see this thing that they're cock teasing us with. But did you know that there's reportedly going to be another Realm game that has both Marvel and DC characters that can fight each other?
Interesting.
Because NetherRealm, I don't know if you know, the guys that do Mortal Kombat, they made the Injustice video games.
Oh, I did not know that's who made them. Interesting.
Yeah. It's the same guys who do Mortal Kombat. So they will basically take their Injustice fighting system and, like, I guess merge it with, like, the Marvel versus Capcom style. Yep, Sans the Capcom, but,
Yeah. Interesting. Anyway, it's cool to me. I always like when they kind of pay a little nod to each other, but that they both did it. And I mean, this happened many times before. Like, Booster Gold will reference the name Jarvis, and it's funny. Or, like, Captain Marvel, the Marvel character, will show, like, there was, like, some mirror of destiny or something that showed, like, the history of the character, and, like, barely cut off at the edge of the page, you can see, like, Shazam's cape. And it's like
his cake.
His cake, yes. It's just his cake. That cake of an ass. But stuff like that. They do all sorts of little nods, but they both did a like big universe ending kind of nod like 4 months apart, and I was like, are you trying to tell me something? Are you gonna destroy the omniverse with the giant? Because then the reason I was starting to think, well, it's possible, is because then they went and destroyed the source wall that's the boundary of the multiverse, and now they've discovered that there's other multiverses outside of the one we've been dealing with for the last 50 years in DC Comics. So it's weird. It's weird stuff.
Sorry, I'm tired.
Anyway, all that to say, no matter how convoluted these things get, I'm always going to be excited for the next one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the Marvel stuff coming up.
Yeah.
I'm excited for certain aspects of DC, just not the comics.
So are you saying you're excited for Marvel comic stuff, or are you just talking MCU?
Marvel Comics still seems to be making stuff that's like interesting. And
Cool.
they've always had like a decent grasp on their multiverse, and so like yeah, there's no reason for me to be like, oh, Marvel Comics has really been taking lately. Again, it's not me it's not a matter of me arbitrarily choosing one property to be a fanboy over another. It's a matter of one has been giving me consistently good quality and the other hasn't. So
mine's pretty arbitrary, where I'm just kind of yeah, I've read DC Comics for a long time. I'm kind of invested in this multiverse. I don't want to take the time and money to go invest my attention in the other multiverse, so I'll just stick with DC Comics and watch Marvel stuff.
And that's understandable. I get it. It's just whenever it bugs me whenever I make valid criticisms against DC and people don't see me making the same criticisms against Marvel, and they want to assume that I'm like a paid shill or a
Marvel shill.
And it's like, no, I'm making the criticisms against DC and not Marvel because Marvel doesn't share these same criticisms. They have their own criticisms, but they're not as numerous or serious. So yeah, I'm not going to be as upset with them as I am with DC. It's and like even in the media, like the the DC media is also hit or miss. You can have a Young Justice or you can have a fucking Teen Titans Go. You can have a fucking Static Shock, or you can have a fucking CW Flash season 8. Like the point is that
season 8 seems fine so far.
Shut up. I don't care. The point is, and like the worst of Marvel is like I've seen people recently just discover that Marvel Disc Wars exist, and they're like trying to shit on it, and it's just like at least Marvel's doing anime, okay? Like let them have this. They wanted to do
Inhumans. Inhumans is the worst.
Yes, that's true. There you go.
There's no contest.
Yes, you're correct. That's the worst thing Marvel's ever done.
That's literally the worst thing they've ever done, because it's the only thing they've done that I tried to watch and couldn't make it through a full episode before deciding I didn't want to watch anymore.
You know what? I lied. The worst thing they did was make Wanda and Pietro fuck.
Okay, yeah. For comics, that's absolutely the worst thing they've ever done.
So addendum. Inhumans in the modern day and in the 2000s, most of the Ultimate comics. Other than that...
Sounds like the Ultimates was just I don't know much about the history of Marvel, but bad. From what I've gathered, the Ultimates was just a generally bad idea.
It was that exact same counterculture thing that I was just bitching about the modern Superman fans for, in that they made Captain America an unlikable boomer. They had a lot of like incest and like sexual assault. This is the same era where they decided to retcon it to where Green Goblin raped Gwen Stacy.
God damn it!
Yeah,
fucking Marvel. Okay.
So again, yes, I'm not. Look, guys, I'm not blind and I'm not biased. Marvel has done bad shit, and I will always call them out for that. Speaking of, hey Marvel, once again, pay David Aya and replace Latita Wright.
Yeah, for real. Just move on.
Yeah, you don't need her.
You
Get some other
actress.
get some other strong-jawed petite black woman. Okay, all right. Have you ever noticed how wide her fucking jaw is?
It's never really occurred to me, no, but I will pay more attention next time. But yeah, you know, recasting is something that people shy away from. That it's I don't think nearly as many people care as Marvel thinks.
Look, we got over it when Ed Norton and Terrence Howard were replaced. Okay, we'll get over. Nobody even noticed that Fandral got replaced.
Yeah,
so,
we discussed that earlier.
Yeah. So who gives? Just replace her. Just do it. Okay, I think that's about the end of it, guys. This was an especially negative and exhausted episode for me, and I apologize. It's just that at the end of the day, I love Superman. I love Superboy. I love the core of these characters. So when I see this discourse where get it, whether it's proclaimed fans or the actual creators, it bothers me because it's a simple premise in a near infinite number of directions, and we've seen such fantastic stories from these characters. So there's no reason for them to be consistently fucked up these days. It's not that I hate these characters, it's that I want better for them. And we can get better. That's the whole point, right? Always look for a better tomorrow. Jonathan Kent. Okay. Join the Discord. I should have done a poll for this one. I literally didn't have a topic. I was like, "You want to record Cape Corner?" And Jordan was like, "Yeah, sounds good." And then I went, "Okay, today we're going to be talking about." So I should have done a poll. I didn't think. I normally put up polls when I'm like looking for something to talk about to give listeners a chance to pick what they want to hear. You can support me on the Anchor page if you so choose. Share the episode with a friend, please. If you know anyone who you think would get a kick out of this sort of thing, please, just give them the link. If they don't listen, it's fine, but at least you made the attempt. That's all I can ask. Obviously, you can't fucking hold them hostage and be like, listen to it, or I'll never forgive you, because, you'll be a fucking maniac. But and if you do that normally, I refuse to believe that you have enough friends to share the episode with. What else? I didn't do an ad break. It's fine. What else to do? I'll find a place to put it. Go listen to the Phantom Optimist. Like I said, we just recorded an episode about the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye. You can hear about my takes. Will I be as horribly aggressive in that as I was in this episode? No, because it's the Optimist, and I have to mind what gets accused, but also maybe hear what I really, really thought about the Hawkeye episode. Am I forgetting something?
Nah.
Okay. Next week. I think next week is Jay. He said it was this week. He wasn't.
Probably.
Okay. All right. Something else next week. Actually, I have no clue who I'm going to be talking about with him. All right. Everybody, thank you for listening.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
You know what? You know what? I could. Maybe I should. You said it. Oh, that one is going to make me lose my mind.
I am so excited.
You know what, Jordan? You just signed your own fate, because now if Jay is like, sorry, I can't, I'm going to make you talk about Sonic the Hedgehog with me.
All right, I'm in. I love Sonic the Hedgehog. This is going to be fun.
We're doing it one way or another next week. All right, everybody, thank you for listening. Stay strong, stay true to yourselves, and remember, we can all be heroes.